Hey guys, so today we're gonna look at how to prepare for an interview night before. So let's say if you have an interview tomorrow, how are you going to prepare? Now, a lot of people would say, hey, no, I know everything. I mean, I know what I do. I do it day-to-day basis, so I'm the master of my domain, so I don't really need to prepare. I'm just gonna go there and I'm just gonna perform the best, right? Probably not. There are a few things that always you need to prepare because of the way our brain is designed. Remember, a prepared person is always better than the one who did not prepare, right? So let's look at what are the things that you need to prepare the night before. Now, you cannot prepare for everything, so we're gonna do a shortcut. We're gonna look at all the things that you need to do night before so that you can perform better. One of the first thing I would do is look through my resume. You are the one who wrote the resume, so why do you have to go through it? For several reasons. A lot of times people have written their resume a long time ago, lines in your resume that are quite old, and you may not remember all the things you did, let's say maybe 5-6 years ago. Yes, given enough time, you might be able to remember, yeah, I did something like this. You'll be wasting a lot of time just thinking in an interview, right? So instead, if you just go through them and just think about what you have done, because the interviewer can ask you from your resume. And also, if you have a long history of work, and if somebody asks you from something from 20 years ago, you don't want to answer them, right? So what I would suggest is older jobs, just make it a very small description rather than giving the whole paragraph, and give importance to all the newer recent position that you worked at, right? So this way, interviewer only would ask you from those newer positions, which you would already know. Let's say if you're a student and you have done lots of projects. Because you may not have a lot of experience, you probably listed all the projects in your resume. It's important to know what you've done in the project. Even though they're your project, it's important to just go through it. Second thing I would do is go through the fundamentals, which means whichever domain you are in. Let's say your domain is Java. You do Java coding day-to-day basis. But oftentimes, our work is very narrow. And we work in this, even though we are good at it, there are a lot of things around it we may have forgotten. So a lot of fundamentals we have forgotten, right? Because we are not using it day-to-day basis, and that is a problem, right? So I would just suggest, just look through the Java fundamental, or whichever domain you are, look through its fundamentals. Google it. There are always like this summarized version of whatever domain you are, and understand that summary, and this way you can refresh your knowledge. You can also Google like top 10 questions asked in that domain. What happens is some of the interviewers, they are given this job. Hey, can you interview this person, right? And that guy is not prepared, so he's got limited time to prepare for the questions that he's going to ask. So what he's going to do, he's going to Google, and the first 5 pages that he comes up with, he will build his question based on that. So you can do the same thing. You can Google top 10 questions asked in this domain, just go through it. So this way you are increasing your chance of passing the interview. Another important thing to prepare for is personality questions. Or behavioral questions. This, I feel like a lot of people are not prepared because they're not expecting oftentimes. For example, interviewer can ask you, where do you see yourself in 10 years or 5 years? And a lot of people are kind of clueless. You don't want to be clueless in an interview, so you have to give some answer, right? So if you prepare this kind of questions night before, you can answer them. A little bit of the politics. My favorite question is, what are your weaknesses, right? If they ask you this and suddenly you have to come up with your weaknesses, you want to be careful. You want to be really careful when you answer this question, because if you're completely honest and you say, oh, I don't like working with people, that's my weakness, and the interviewer will be like, okay, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the interview, right? So you need to have some weakness that doesn't impact your work, but it's also a weakness. You don't want to say, oh, I don't have any weakness, because that's not possible. As a human, we all have weaknesses. So come up with a couple of weaknesses that are kind of minor. Sometimes you can say, hey, you know what, I have this weakness, so what I did, I have this work around it, which really helps my career. And that will be very positive. All right, so the next thing you want to do is look at what the company does. The company that you are applying at, you need to understand their domain, what kind of products they have, what kind of competitors they have. And so then you can, they will give you a chance to ask, hey, do you have any questions? And you should be able to ask, hey, can you tell me a little bit about this particular product, okay, and how you guys do it, or why your company is making this decision, right? This way, the interviewer would be like, okay, yeah, this guy is interested in the company and he has done his research, which is very important. Also, understanding the company would help you understand what kind of a question they might ask. Because let's say if you apply for a job in this particular team, if you understand what this product is, how the management structure is and all that stuff, then you would know what kind of question they might be asking. And you can also do this kind of research on one of those job sites like Glassdoor, and which would have the company page, and you would see all the people who have reviews on these companies, and there might be some people who put the kind of question they have been asked. So you can review them. It's no guarantee that they might ask you the same questions, but at least you get some idea, and you might get lucky as well, right? So it's important to know that as well. And besides all of these questions, the main thing you need to do the night before is have a light dinner so that your stomach is not upset and everything, and have a good night's sleep. Because a lot of people study too long in the night, and then just because they need to be prepared very well, and what they do is they work a little extra, and then in the morning they're tired because they didn't have enough sleep. And that is actually a worse situation, because you cannot really prepare for everything. They can ask from a lot of things, and you cannot prepare for everything. So don't try to prepare for everything. Just do right amount of work, and then take a nice sleep, and then in the morning have a decent breakfast, so you have enough food for your brain, so you can perform better. And by the way, if you have any recent experiences regarding how you prepare for an interview, I would like to know. So feel free to comment. There might be something that I missed in this video, so please let me know, and the audience know as well. And I hope you learned something from this video. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and provide a nice comment. Thank you.